In a distant land, there was a majestic and prosperous kingdom that extended over vast territories. This kingdom was known for its splendor and wealth, but also for its monarch, King Alderan. The king ruled with wisdom, compassion, and was deeply loved by his people. The king lived so focused on his growth as a good monarch and aware that times change at any moment, he decided to summon the wisest magicians, wizards, and healers from neighboring realms in search of an answer to his question. He told them that he lived with great anxiety as he constantly thought about the future. How would he reign? Would his people continue to love him? Would he be a good king? What would happen at the moment of his inevitable death? He also told them that he felt overwhelmed because his duties as king did not allow him to spend much time with his family, the most beloved beings to him. He regretted not being there for them, and it broke his heart. He said he knew that life can vary and change from one moment to another, that we are imperfect beings, and we can make both right and wrong decisions throughout our lives. However, he wanted advice for when that happened. He wanted an answer that would allow him to move forward despite everything. He sought the key to living fully despite his choices. In exchange, he promised them riches, honor, and all the gratitude and protection of the king. Immediately, the wise magicians, wizards, and healers set about advising him and helping him resolve his doubt. At the end of the day, they had all given some answer to the king's doubt, who with deep sadness realized that everything they had advised him were words and thoughts that already existed in his head and heart. He bid farewell to them and decided to walk through the streets of his kingdom. While passing along a path, he noticed an elderly man peacefully contemplating the stars. This caught his attention, and he approached him, asking, "May I ask you a question?" The old man replied, "You may ask only one question." The king asked, "How can I live fully despite my decisions?" The old man looked at him intently and said, "Take this ring. You must carry it with you at all times. Within it lies the answer to your question. But you will only see what is written when your decisions have led you to the saddest moment of your life, as well as the happiest one." In a way he couldn't explain, the old man's words brought calm to the king, who immediately returned to his castle. And so, years passed. The kingdom was threatened by an enemy that conquered everything in its path. All the realms it attacked couldn't overcome it in battle because it had a large army and dominated by instilling fear and pain in those it invaded. The king, knowing he was weak militarily due to his kingdom having lived in peace for many years, chose not to fight. Instead, he decided to try to reason with his enemy. The enemy, feeling victorious, said he wouldn't attack his people in exchange for one condition. The king must surrender his kingdom, and he and his family must leave those lands that would no longer belong to them. The king agreed without knowing that this would forever change his life and that of his loved ones. As the days passed, the king felt deeply disappointed and sad. He and his family lived in a way that only animals could endure, hungry, cold, and with no possibility of survival. He also learned that his people suffered because of the new ruler, and nothing was the same. In a moment of clarity, he remembered that the old man had allowed him to see what the ring contained when he experienced his saddest moment. This gave him hope. When he opened the ring, the king found a small piece of paper with 3 simple words: "This too shall pass." The words resonated in his head and heart, and he realized that everything was ephemeral and could change at any moment. Though he lived through a very unfavorable situation, he could do something to change it. He told himself, "This too shall pass." He understood he had been mistaken not to fight for his people and beliefs. He was the protector of his family and his people, with the power to defeat any enemy. Thus, he began his plan to reclaim his kingdom. For months, he studied his enemy, putting all his focus on his goal and execution, and in the end, he succeeded in vanquishing the threat to his kingdom. During a grand celebration, everyone rejoiced that King Alderan had defeated his enemy and restored peace to his family and people. Congratulations poured in from all parts of the kingdom. He felt fulfilled and knew it was the happiest day of his life. At that moment, he took a minute to open his ring again and meditate on the old man's words. He remembered them with great respect and affection and made a promise. In moments of joy, he would remember that happiness is fleeting and act with prudence. In days of sadness and melancholy, he would find comfort in these words. This too shall pass.